Hello, everyone. This is ex Bethelite here. And recently, there was a shooting in Florida. I believe it was at the club called the Pulse. And apparently, there's very little that we know for sure about the motives in the shooting, about the person who actually did this shooting, because the person apparently was killed at the scene. Uh, and there's a lot of speculation going around with regards to, was this tied to his religion of Islam? Uh, was this person who, from my understanding, shot over 50 people? If the numbers were correct that I've seen, it was that 50 people died, but there was more than 50 people that got shot. So the person and the person could have been a what is called a homophobe, someone that just has a problem with homosexual people. Very little is known about that, but this is apparently the worst shooting in the history of the country, the worst mass shooting in the history of the country. We can learn from this. One thing that we can learn is that apparently on this specific day, there were a lot of people that were gathered together that were homosexual. Apparently, this club, Pulse, is a homosexual club. It's where people who are homosexual will go to fellowship, dance, party, have fun, just like heterosexual people like to do: dance, party, have fun at a club. Uh, One thing that we can learn and deduce from all of this that is a fact. Now, this is a fact. A lot about this Omar person is a clouded mystery. They don't. So far, we don't know. There was supposedly a 911 call where the person said that he was with a terrorist group, but I don't know that the 911 call has been released. Uh, I'm guessing if they had it, it would be the first thing that would be released. The person's father is saying he doesn't think it was related to the religion. It's hard to say one way or the other. A person's friend is saying one thing. One of the Omar's ex-wife is saying one thing. One thing we know for a fact is that a lot of homosexual people gathered together at a club. This club supposedly held hundreds of homosexual people. They were all together. And I'm guessing, I'm not sure if this was a particular day of remembrance for them, like a gay pride thing or something. But if it was, then there were probably homosexual people gathered all around the country. And one thing made the news, and that is a heterosexual person shooting an automatic weapon into a crowd of people. It wasn't homosexual people that made the news for doing the most atrocious thing another human being can do. It was a heterosexual person who made the news for firing an automatic weapon into a crowd of people. Can we see the irony in all of this? Can we see a logical problem here? And that is, You got heterosexual people who are causing these problems. The major problem, even if you're religious and you believe that it is some sort of a sin, excuse me, a sin, if you believe it, if you're religious and you believe that it is a sin to be, for a person to be sexually active with a person of the same sex. Let's say you do hold that belief. You would even have to admit that the ones causing the major problem in all of this are heterosexual. Those are the people killing people. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. Murder is obviously wrong. Now, as a society, we don't understand the human psychology well enough to fully understand homosexuality. Because here's the thing: seeing two men kiss, if it's a problem for you, or seeing two men or two women kiss, hold hands, get married, what have you. Now, if that's a problem, there's a logical reason that this is a problem for you. And it may be a problem because you're heterosexual. Of course it's going to be different if you're heterosexual. If you're heterosexual, that means you have a desire to be in a relationship or sexually active with someone of the opposite sex. If you are homosexual, you have a desire to be in a relationship or sexually active with someone of the same sex. I think we have that much figured out. Now, why is this a big issue? It's possibly an issue because you have people who are heterosexual trying to understand people who are homosexual. Might be a problem there, because I don't know how it is humanly possible for you to do that. Now, a man is different from a woman. I feel like I'm being, I'm not trying to be condescending, but when things start to get this crazy, this insane, you have to just, open up and let's start talking about this. If a man is different from a woman. Now, men oftentimes have a hard time understanding women. Why? Because they're a man and they're not a woman. Now, women sometimes have a hard time understanding men. And there's been books written. There's whole websites on trying to understand the opposite sex. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. Why did they write these books? Because it's hard for someone to understand something from a perspective that they are not at. So men don't understand women many times. Women don't understand men. More understanding comes through dialogue and discussion. If you're married and you want to understand your wife, you may have to sit and talk and communicate. That be about the best way to do it. If you're trying to understand women better, they're individuals, so you have to talk, have dialogue, discuss things, understand them. The same principle. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please comment down below if I'm wrong. The same principle. Men don't understand women. Women don't understand men. Why? They're different. They think differently. You're not going to just understand someone else's perspective. Isn't it the same as to why heterosexual people don't fully understand homosexual people? You're going to have to talk. You're going to have dialogue. If you really have a problem with this, you're going to have to talk and have dialogue. Because firing weapons in a crowd of people, he didn't even know that all the people he hit were homosexual. Because at these clubs, from my understanding, everybody's welcome. So there could have been a good number of heterosexual people that he shot while he's out trying to kill homosexual people. Can we see a problem with this? If you're picking up a weapon, an automatic weapon, and getting ready to go out and kill someone, the problem isn't homosexual people. Stop worrying about homosexual people. It's the problem is with that person. The problem is with this whole concept. The problem is that you need to get help. If someone had done something to this person in specific, then that person should have addressed it with the specific person that had done it to him. But it seems like he targeted just a crowd of people in a homosexual club, so we can assume that he had a problem with, to some degree, with homosexuals. And we all know that that is wrong. We can all agree that that's wrong. I don't care if you're into Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or whatever. We pretty much all have a certain amount of common sense. And we do know that firing a weapon into a crowd of people, hitting just anybody, is wrong. Firing a weapon into a crowd of people is wrong, period. But firing a weapon and just shooting just random people, you don't know who these people are. You got people who are grieving. You have people who have lost sons and it could have been women hit, also daughters and cousins and for what? Because you don't understand homosexuals. Is that the reason why to go and start shooting up places? Because you don't understand. You're going to have to sit down and discuss. We're going to have to sit down and discuss this and talk. That's how you understand people, is by talking. I know a few people who are homosexual, and I'm just speaking from my personal experience. None of the people that I know of that are homosexual, people I know personally that are homosexual, they're all nice people. They don't bother anybody. None of the people I know personally, I know homosexual people personally. If these were evil people or something to that effect, I would know, because I know multiple homosexual people. All the people that I know who are homosexual are nice. I've talked to them. I had great conversations with them on the phone, just chatting and good friends. Why is this an issue? Number one, why is this an issue? Because it's gotten to the point where it's starting to get ridiculous. Comment down below, why is this an issue? I know that there are people who don't understand this. There's people that think that they're faking it. There's people that think that they're really not homosexual. They're just faking it. And those people have no facts to base that off of. They have no facts to back up that claim, because you have people in countries where they are being thrown off of buildings for being homosexual. If they weren't homosexual and they were just kidding around, they probably would have said something before they got thrown off of the building. I'm assuming they're probably chopping off their heads and everything over there, because that seems to be a means of execution. Before they got their heads chopped off, they probably would have said, "Oh, hold on, I'm just joking." If we look at Google, we can Google the word homosexual, and if we were to do that, the word homosexual will pop up, and it says, of a person sexually attracted to people of one's own sex. If there was no such thing as homosexuality and people weren't really homosexual, why is there a definition? Why is there a word for it in the English language? There's a definition here of something that doesn't even exist. Apparently it does. And I don't see in this definition anything about this hurting anybody. It says of a person sexually attracted to people of one's own sex. It doesn't say anything about this hurting anybody. I almost couldn't believe it. I heard a couple people talking about it, and it wasn't until after these discussions that I got, online and did research and looked at the news and found out what had happened and about. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? You shot all those people for what? Because you don't understand them? And again, that word homosexual means, yes, a person attracted to people of one's own sex. That means they both have the same sexual organs, which know that, of course, they can't reproduce. I know there's people that have issues with it because they can't reproduce, but it's common sense. If you're homosexual, no, you can't reproduce with your partner because your partner is of the same sex, because that's what the definition of homosexual is. You're attracted to someone of the same sex. So no, you can't obviously you can't reproduce. But what do you want them to do about it? I just think people should be left alone. If you don't understand something, then it's probably not your business. If this is something that's in your family, then you need to sit down and discuss it. No shunning, no throwing people out, no acting ridiculous, because you know that those actions in themselves are wrong. So two wrongs don't make a right. One person I know of in our community, the ex-witness community, cult survivor community, whatever you want to call it, is Derek Lanier. And I've spoken to him on several occasions. I text him about this incident. Of course he's upset about all of this. But I can tell you one thing about Derek. I've never heard a hurtful thing come out of his mouth since I've known him. He's the nicest guy. I actually even interviewed him some while back. And there was nothing but, just a very pleasant person. Very nice guy. For crying out loud, he helps people for a living. I think he works in a hospital. Saving lives, helping people for a living. Can probably assume that this is probably not a bad person. So you're going to have people, witnesses going door to door, right? With a magazine saying, "You hear about that Florida shooting? Isn't it horrible? Wouldn't you like to live in a world where there aren't any mass killings like that?" And then they'll hand you a watchtower and read you, "What about Armageddon? Isn't that what Armageddon is? A mass killing? People are going to be partying in a club and they're all going to get killed because they're not Jehovah's Witnesses. Kids are going to be in schools, in high school, in music class, just having class. And then you heard about Columbine. Isn't there going to be a massive global Columbine? All these kids in schools all dead at Armageddon." People just going to work. You've heard of shootings at work. We all can agree that that is an grievous thing. Isn't that what Armageddon is? All of those horrible events, the most horrible events in human history, wrapped up, put together, and all done at the same time on the same day, except for it's God doing it. Isn't that what Armageddon is? Mass killing from one end of the globe clear to the other end of the globe. And you're going to have people coming to your door talking about, isn't this horrible and isn't that horrible? But what they're presenting to you as a way of resolving this is worse than any of the things that they're saying are horrible going on that need to be resolved. Just think about all of this for a little bit. It's time to really stop and think. When something like this happens, this is something that we can all learn from. We can learn just how stupid this is. You look at it on the news and you're thinking, this is an idiot. You know, and yes, the person may have had mental health issues, and that could have contributed to it. Of course, it doesn't exclude it, or it doesn't excuse it, but the person could have had mental health issues. I've only been able to see what is on the news reports, and there isn't a whole bunch of confirmed information. We don't know. He could have been mentally sick. However, there's other people that have done atrocities to homosexual people. There's the people that are throwing people off buildings and everything like that. We know about that. So I'm guessing these are religious people who have not the wherewithal to understand that throwing someone off of a building is probably worse than anything that the person being thrown off of the building has done. It just eludes them. They can't get it. The parents of people who are in the organization that have shunned their children because they're homosexual, they just don't get it. They just can't gather why destroying their own family is probably not the solution, number one, and number two, worse than what they think this person is doing. Keep in mind, they don't even fully understand it. They can't fully understand it because they're not looking at it from a perspective that they have experience in. So comment down below. Let me know what you think about all of this. It's just amazing that this happened at a gay club because it's a gay club. They weren't bothering anybody because they were at their own club. If I get a bunch of people together and I purchase a facility and have a gathering for people to do whatever it is that we plan on doing, which of course is not against the law, we're not bothering anyone because we went to a place specifically designed for that. And the person that went in there and caused the problem was heterosexual. And you don't see a bunch of homosexual people getting guns and shooting up clubs for straight people. This. It doesn't seem like the problem is homosexual people. Is kind of what I'm getting at. It doesn't seem like they're the ones that are killing people and bothering people and comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Armageddon and just a mass global killing, just like the one that just happened in Florida. Contact me at 937-607-5085. Email BETHELITE, the number 7 at yahoo.com. This is X Beth Light signing out.